Let the balloon do what it's supposed to do. There we go. Yes, you can understand it. Okay, now what you're supposed to do is get up, move around, and keep your balls, your balloon safe for the next 2 minutes. Keep your balloon safe or not from bursting for the next 2 minutes, but you need to intermingle and make sure your balloon is not busted.
I like your colors.
Okay, now if you've had enough fun, come back to your seat. So, what are we learning about interfaith engagement, about language?
There wasn't any word that was foreign to me. There wasn't any word that I didn't agree with. It was all, I could have used anybody's words.
And it was still interfaith, like there people, yes. Good. What else did you learn?
Everything was a positive message, very positive.
Good, everything was positive. Because you liked it.
I got some help every now and then when my balloon kind of went out of control a little bit. Other people would keep it up. I would help other people keep theirs up.
Yes. What else?
We have different ways to express what we think about faith.
About what we value about our faith. Yes. What else?
I just feel like we didn't really know what the process was like, but we were all eager to do it.
And had your own innovative ways of participating. Some you started by just holding it on yourself and let it stick on yourself. You know, just kind of had your own interpretations about the instructions. What else? Yes.
I was really curious to see what everybody's word was. So just that openness to know what everybody wrote as what do they love about their faith. So that curiosity.
And then where did that curiosity take you? Like, where are you now? You know, having witnessed other people's values and who have you become?
The curiosity took me that everybody's saying kind of similar things that I would have, you could write so many things. I chose one, but any of those words could have applied to me. In my opinion.
It was more meaningful when I started moving around with it. Because I didn't know you were supposed to move around, so I was standing here and trying to be quiet. So when I started moving around, I was like, oh, this is so much more active and interactive and meaningful.
Yes.
Kind of what she said, my balloon was actually knocking into other people. I don't think they knew it, but that to me is like we're all valuable. And sometimes we don't know how valuable we are when my balloon is going off.
Yes.
Implicit in most people's what they wrote in one word is that it's this concept of another person, the other, relationships, another person, connection with all lives, the external sense, community, sense of hope, acceptance. I found that interesting. It always involves another person.
But in the process of involving other person, where are you then? Who are you? Where are you in that process to make the interaction fun, easy, light-hearted, kind of open? Open? Yes, open. Does that match to what you're saying? Yeah. Did you want to add something? No, like to your exploration, you said that it was like other person.
The words imply that there is always myself and another person.
Okay, in interaction. Yes. Yes. But in that interaction, what I want us to learn also is that you bring the presence, you bring the value to the table. And the balloon is light-hearted not because of the color of the material of it, but what's inside it. And so that's one key piece about how we come to the table of interfaith dialogue, is not what is external, but what is inside us that makes us float around, allows the other person to play with you along the way, interact with you. Anything else? Yes.
Although, there are a lot of different faces in the circle, I felt very much a part of the community. I felt very much a part because of, everyone's words resonated with me. I didn't feel like an outsider.
You belonged, you connected, you liked, you were able to interact, right? So the learning in all this is that we did not say that this is my religion. We didn't show up that this is my religion. But we said what is most valuable for me when I come to the table with the religion or the faith that I believe in. So that brings much more ease, as we were discussing earlier, if we can spell out the vision. What matters most to us? What matters to me when I pray in the name of Jesus? If that is very clear, if the vision is clear of what it means, then you all can join in. Even if it is under the umbrella of a balloon, or is it under the umbrella of Jesus? So when we tune our eyes, ears and thoughts, the key piece to make interfaith work, interfaith interactions fun and easy is where you tune yourself to pick up the vision. What matters most to this person? No matter what they're saying, they're like fanatics like myself, once upon a time myself, or anybody for that matter. What are they saying? What's the essence of the message? And I say fanatic because when we come with our own religion, with our own message, we are so tightly trained. As you were saying, how do I give up my message, my training, and yet I interact as a human being? Yeah, in theory it looks very nice, that we are all bound by time, we are all bound by breath. But how do I do it? I don't know, because my messages are so tight that I can't even extend my hand to shake a hand with somebody, right? Which is all good stuff, but the essence of it is that we maintain the purity of who we are. Our balloons will not float if they are open in any way, right? Yet we can bring our whole self in a way that we bring the wholeness to the community where we resonate. Making sense?
Oh yeah, questionable.
This is probably going to be more reflective of me than perhaps anybody here, but what was interesting for me, the interesting shift, was I had to shift from the church that I go to faith. So I had to pull it away from the organization or the organized entity and pull it to something different. And so as I listen to some of the comments that we talk about and kind of the freeness, the other thing that I think about is, but does you might think that as yourself, but does the entity that you attend, does the organization you attend have that same sense of openness or not? Because you may as an individual, but the organization, the organized institution you attend may not. And that impacts so much of what we do and who we are and how it gets professed out into the world.
Yes.
So I appreciate that distinction, and that was a huge movement.
Yes. Thank you for kind of phrasing it. And this is a very key piece that you are also connecting with it. And the whole idea behind nonviolent communications, or communications that connect, is how do we connect at the core level of the message? Yes, our institutions, our mentors, our guides, as we may label them as closed-minded, fanatic, whatever the rest of the vocabulary we have. But the key part over here is how do we change that vocabulary? Behind this person saying that this is not how you do things, what is the key message? My message for safety, my message for purity of the message, the originality of what I bring to the table. And what I bring to the table is love, truth, fearlessness. Those are the key ingredients of the messages we bring from our faith. So how do we go deep inside ourselves and connect to that within ourselves, and then extend ourselves to listen from the other? And what stops that connection, what stops that deep going and bringing it up, is our thinking process. So the interfaith doesn't happen necessarily in action first. It begins in our thought process, which is the most difficult one. In action, we come to a gathering like this, it's fun, we interact, we have our own roles to play, we stand up and say, oh, I'm from the Jain community and so and so. It's very easy, it's fun. But the key part of it is in your mind, what is going on while you're doing that. What are the messages, what are the judgments? Those need to be translated into pure observations and separated from the judgments I make. Is this making sense? So the real work comes for us to translate all the judgments, should nots, right, wrong, into pure observations, and then separate the evaluations that we might have. So just that separation will create a huge difference in how you stand up, how you show up in life when you are with a person who's different. Because our distance, our separation in the faith communities, whether it's our own intra-faith or is it interfaith, comes in our thinking process. So we separate ourselves from the crowd. I say, oh, that's not the right way to do things. Oh, we don't wear shoes in our prayer service. We are so special. I've separated myself. But to come in with your shoes in for a moment and see what is it that's so special about the shoes and God. And then you separate the idea that yes, wearing shoes is considered wrong, rude, not the right thing. Okay, so those are all my evaluations about it. But just the act of wearing the shoes or not wearing the shoes is an observation. And then kind of being curious as to what is the essence, what is the message behind my faith, behind wearing the shoes or not wearing the shoes. And then you might realize that, oh, wearing the shoes, my religion is all about connecting with the essence of who I am without any attachment to any external material stuff. So my shoes will interfere with my connection with the earth and how I allow the cycle of recycling of energy to happen. And those kind of three things might evolve when you tap into the essence of the rituals, the methods of how we express our love and respect to God and divinity. So at the thought level, observations and judgments, meanings we put, the stories we tell ourselves are need to be captured and then translated into pure observation, that this is it. That I go to a prayer hall and I leave my shoes behind me. What does that mean? And somebody else goes to church, wear nice, polished, new, brand new shoes to the church. So is my faith related to a shoe? But what are we going to God? What are we going to the church, to the temple for? It is for emptying ourselves, connecting with the divinity. I'm made in the image of divinity. So that relationship needs to come to surface and not get caught up on the shoes part. And that's where we lose. And that's where we go to wars.
I was once a member of a church that almost split over moving the pews, changing how the pews in the sanctuary were set up. So much meaning about, who we were as a people of faith got caught up in how the pews were set up in the church. The conversation about changing the church, the way that the pews were set up, was divisive. It's a great example of, is our faith in the pews?
So let's hold this example very preciously here. How would you go now, having heard what you heard, go in there as a mediator and mediate this separation, this divisiveness?
Now I regret bringing an example. Well, I think probably for me it would go to what you've just been talking about, to really kind of seek what it is we're really trying to accomplish. And I think also really drawing on our spiritual tradition to be together in a spirit of prayer and of seeking of love.
Yes. So as a mediator, when we interact with these situations, or even if we are the other party who doesn't want to move the pews, and this is the party that wants to move the pews, how do we interact in that moment is the key part. Because in my mind the message is, oh my God, these pews have been here for 100 years, I don't want them to move. Because what is my value in all this, what is my vision behind maintaining this, is just continuity, stability, what else can it be? Familiarity.
It could even be moving of pews could even be a form of sacrilege for some people.
Sacrilege, right. So under that sacrilege, what is the important thing? What is the vision behind sacrilege?
To dishonor God. So some people are so wrapped up in whatever tradition that tradition for them is a spiritual value, and so moving the pews for some is like I am actually blaspheming or I am dishonoring.
So now these are all the interpretations. You see the difference? And I'm asking you to boil it down to the importance of it. That I want to stick in my interpretation, whatever it is. My goal is to be true, to keep the purity, to keep the originality of how life was once upon a time. Right? So you just connect with that because you also have the same need. That is what your value is. And you want to move the pew away because what?
Maybe it's a time for changing. Some people is not open to change.
You see, again, maybe some people are not open to change, becomes our story, our interpretation that separates us.
Right.
But from sitting here, if you get curious, because she wants to keep the purity of this religion as well, and wants to accommodate more people into that. And just moving that would encourage, enhance the renewal process as well. So if we stay in dialogue of what matters most to us, not the pews, not the shoes, but what's the goal, what's the essence of life? Yes.
But in the end, and I don't know if this is too simplistic, in the end, the pews are either going to move or they're not going to move. And so, how do you, I mean, is it just understood that one party is not going to be completely satisfied, or both parties are not going to be completely satisfied? I mean, perhaps they can recognize the value of what the pews mean to them, but how does that translate into the physical action that's going to take place?
Very good question, because that's where and I say that not because I want to move in that direction. And so the conflict is not in the strategy of where if the shoes are going to be worn or if the pews are going to be moved. That's the point I'm trying to make. But we fight over that, because when we fight over that, we have only two options: does the pew move or does it not move? But when we get our focus on what matters most, we have billions of options now. So creating a world of possibility is the essence of interfaith. And not just having two options on the strategy level, on the what we do action level, but how we connect at the heart level, how we really express love, grace. So it's the creativity, it's courageousness, it's fearlessness in getting what is the essence of what this conflict is about. It's never about the pews. It's never about the shoes. If it was, then we wouldn't gather here today as interfaith community. And just tell me the time, how much time I have.
I'm not sure.
Let me look.
It's 10 to 12.
Okay, so another 10 minutes?
10, 15 minutes.
10, 15 minutes.
It's all right.
10 minutes.
It goes to 12:15.
12:15, you're fine. So you're fine.
Okay. So just give me a thing about 5 minutes, okay? So the key part over here is how we do work on action level and how we function at the thought level. And then how we communicate. The language becomes very, very key. And if our language is oriented towards what matters most to us, even if it is Jesus' message or Mahavir's message, but what is it that is the essence of that message? Then we have more and more conversations, more connecting conversations, more resolutions to move forward together and come up with a concrete strategy that will serve life. Okay?
Do you have a...
Well, I was just adding to that and saying that was similar to the conversation that I had with my youth pastor at the turning point in my life.
Yeah.
And he was saying that people get so caught up in how you worship or where you're going to worship and miss out that the point is not those things, but it's that you're going to worship and that you're going to think about these things and you're going to find that connectivity and it's the act is the important part, not how or where you perform it.
Yes. Yes, and I want to hold this point very crucial here, because the other piece that when you shared earlier, you said that this pastor was asked to leave, right? And this is also what needs to happen for us to expand our worlds, to experiment with this. We cannot change the systems that we are in. Sometimes. And instead of butt-heading with them as such, go out in the world, just like that the Nisha was saying, that her aunts and all that would not let her go. It takes courage. Interfaith work takes courage. It takes creativity, it takes fearlessness, it takes learning from your mistakes. One of the first exercise about not holding the balloon, if you observe for your own self, the key message over there was how well you let the balloon fly, how well you took the risk of it falling down, how well you took the risk of it, somebody else playing with it, will define how you are in life, basically. Were you just holding it tight and not letting it go anywhere? Were you kind of mingling and touching other people's balls? So that's another thing that you need to kind of contemplate about and see, how did I play my balloon? and how I interpreted the message, right? I said, don't, all the message instruction you had was to not hold the balloon in your hand or not let it sit anywhere. Some let it sit here, some let it hold, by different ways everybody expressed their understanding. So that was another key message there, that we interpret messages differently. And all of us are right. The other instruction that you had was to keep your balloon safe, right? And then still, this is a characteristic of an interfaith community, that you kept your balloon safe and you intermingled without any threat of it being busted. A lot of times when I do this exercise, people go hold their balloon like that and go busting the other person's balloon. So I was very surprised none of you broke the balloon at all. I'm very, very surprised, delightfully surprised. Because they interpret the message that if I have to keep my balloon safe, I must bust other people's balloons. So I congratulate you for being the interfaith community who interpreted the message the way we are playing this for. So you guys have already arrived at a very special level.
We have hope. That's right.
So sincere congratulations on that. So now what I want us to do is just nice deep breaths and just kind of center yourselves one more time. And then once again, get up and walk around the room and find somebody that you haven't talked to, that you want to connect with. Find a partner, okay? And then we have, I have a few questions that I want you to kind of just explore with each other what it means. And so take about 5 minutes each and just listen. Let one person speak, listen, reflect back your understanding or whatever you want to do, and then let the other person take a turn and speak. And then we come back and distill out some key learnings.
So I'm trying to interact super interested
Let's take a few more minutes to bring this to closure and see what percolates to share, what has moved you, what have you learned, how have you expanded to do your work more powerfully, more faithfully, and more courageously. So, your turn to share what has moved you. The longer you take, the later the lunch.
I think what we learned together is that we both have the same barriers. And have the same barriers for others who...
Can you speak up, please, on this
I
side?
think what we both learned is that we have the same barriers. That either being Catholic and being Orthodox, there's the same barriers. We need the same support from the same persons in order for this to work. Oh, Cindy.
So there's a shared dilemma about it, you see? And then now we can come and address these dilemmas in a way. There's a partnership, there's support, there is understanding, there's mutuality. Then it's not you against me, but what else?
What I've taken out of this experience is knowing that Kat was very open and very receptive to talking to people, and I felt very comfortable talking to her. And it was more of a conversation than an actual, this is the question we need to answer, and that's it, bye, please. I don't have to do that. So it's more of a dialogue. And that makes people feel a little more comfortable in sharing things and really opening up when they don't feel like it's just, being pressured or judged, or what they have to say has to be, articulate or anything. But having the dialogue and hearing yourself.
And just to piggyback on that, one of the things that was a surprise to me is that we sort of had interfaith conversation, but it was about something so kind of unrelated to these questions. And so perhaps one way to engage is to talk about something that impacts everybody. We talked about domestic violence. So we kind of veered from the questions, but I mean, it's important, and we just talked about how it impacts different cultures and different religions, but it's something that needs to be talked about.
Oh my God, she did not pay attention to my question. This is about creating your own comfort zones, your own niche, your own exploration. The frameworks that we get are about just the frameworks and the guidelines of where we want to move, but this is the essence is taught and the conversations become rich. People like us who like to participate and promote and facilitate, I mean, we have to hold something onto so that we can bring you to that focus. But the job that you have is to kind of embellish it, let the tree grow in your own way. And that's the hybrid that we aspire for. Yes?
One of the things that was humbling to me is that what attracts you to interfaith work, part of the reason I'm attracted to it is a sense that my tradition's vision and resources aren't enough to address problems, which is sort of awkward to admit. Feels a little humbling or something. But then when I do interact with other faiths, my vision is expanded, the resources that can be brought to bear is expanded. So, it feels good doing the work, but it comes from a humble place.
Yes. And I'm trying to remember, the cultural humility that the other person was talking about is the essence as well to tie it in. And then we think in our mind again that the thing about scarcity is in our thought process, is the story we tell ourselves. So if you can shift into sufficiency, not even abundance, but sufficiency, that whatever we have, what can we do with it? Because there are many communities who are very abundant in their resources and have the same issues. So again, I want to bring our focus to our thinking, our storytelling, our language, our wording. Our words make our world. So constantly focusing on, is your word describing scarcity, or is it taking you towards possibility? The opposite of scarcity is not abundance, it's possibility. I guess lunch is waiting for us, and just as a closure that I want to, yes.
I just wanted to say something because it's been sort of resonating with me. I'm not so sure I think about interfaith when I think about what I'm doing in my professional life. What strikes me is interracial and cultural. I don't look at somebody and say, are you Catholic or are you Jewish? I really look at them and say, okay, you're white, I'm black, somebody else is Hispanic, somebody else is Korean. So how do we come together to develop programs that might impact all of us? And maybe the lesson that I'm sort of hearing today is that it's not only the cultural, but perhaps there's another level that needs to be sort of brought to the table, and like the approach that you're talking about and saying, what's really motivating you? Why are we here at this juncture to develop programs for the community? So I just sort of wanted to
Again, what is most valuable to you? You know, it's the human need that connects us, the essence of life, the breath. As a closure, what I want to do is invite you to stand up again and just nice deep breaths, just connect with your own self, connect with the circle, allow your connection to expand to your closest and the nearest circles of influence. Just kind of breathe and allow what you're learning, the values that you have on your balloon, to just expand and spread and reach all those you want to reach. Beyond this room, beyond this city, beyond this state, country, just allow your values to spread. And just allow your mind to envision and see what the world would look like. And who would you be in that world if people, communities lived by the value that you value so much? And then once you have an image, a word, or something, an action or gesture, I want you to come, step up, put up your hand out, and just kind of name or label, name the value that you bring, the dream that you have. So just come up one by one only. So if somebody else is ready, come step up so that you can show. Let's get that. So your value is? Connection. Hang on. Stay there. Okay. So the next person who joins here, put out your hand and that. So this is your connection here. Mine is peace. Okay? So step up with your values.
I'm sorry, it's louder.
Humility.
love.
Possibility.
Benevolence.
Grace. Acceptance.
Giving.
Give it.
Help.
Wholeness.
Relationship.
Forgiveness.
Open up the service.
Generosity.
Wisdom.
Unconditional love.
There we go.
You got to back
That's it, Tom. Stay connected, stay connected, stay connected.
Open next.
Yes,
Because the center of the circle, we lost the center here. There's a couple people that think
Laura, what was your term, what was your vision?
Mine is love and
Compassion.
Stay connected. Come this way. So nice deep breaths. Just kind of bend down as much. Stay connected, touch the ground.
Say